Okay, Marcus Kashisha Chatty Show here, and I've got Kurtis Gabriel with me. Kurtis, man, how are you doing?
Real good, dude. Having a great day over here in London, Ontario, Canada, not London, England, as everybody gets
Hey,
messed up. Sometimes I
yeah.
type in London on Google and I forget to put Ontario and I get taken to
It
UK. So
it's just the big city.
yeah. So it's going good over here. I had a couple training things I did today. I'm just kind of nursing a sore groin, but other than that, a lot of good stuff happening. How about you?
Wicked. I'm good, man. I've had a real good day. Came back from work, smashed out a good 40-minute session just before kind of getting ready for all this. So it's been good. It's been a productive day. And I've really been looking forward to having this conversation with you because there's so much to talk about. Like, if there's one thing when I'm looking for a guest, it's like I've got to make sure, like, and sometimes I have to go and do some digging. But, like, I knew coming here, there was plenty to talk about. Like, it's not only just the hockey side to it all, but it's just like when I stumbled across your sort of social media, well, your Instagram, it was through the podcast Inside the Mind with Adam, and that's like one of my favorite podcast episodes I've ever seen. It was so motivating, and then just kind of following your social media then, and just like viewing it every day. I've always kind of said it in the last few episodes, like it's so important to have a positive social media following. Like what content you see has to be positive. It can't be sort of fake and toxic and negative. And the one thing I definitely find with you is that it's motivating. Like it's obviously with the time difference, it's something that I look at midday in work when I'm having a break. I'll come and see what you're doing. I'll come and see what the message is. And what I like as well, when you put that message up early on in your day, it kind of sets me up for that second half of my day. And it's really nice. And I'm just finding as well, having like content like that just really calms me down, motivates me, and I just smash through it. So it's amazing, and I can only imagine when you're doing it as well, you get a great vibe and a solid kick out of your day as well.
Dude, I first of all, thank you so much about that podcast with Adam. It was incredible. That guy's a special dude. I think we can both agree.
Is.
It was a wicked conversation. I love chatting with people like him and like yourself because you have a job, then you go work out, and then you grind your secondary passion or maybe your first passion in a podcast, right? Like I vibe with people like that because they're getting uncomfortable. They're going after it every day, right? So, but to hear you say all those things you just said about my social media is so inspiring to me and fires me up because that's exactly what I want to hear from people. And I work really hard at making, curating it to make it very real, very honest. Like, of course, one day I'll get more flashy, maybe with camera crew stuff.
Yeah.
But I want it to be so real and so authentic that I'm literally just an athlete picking up my phone, going, "Hey, look at this. Hey, look what I'm doing. This is what I want to spread." And that's what I think people want to see is authenticity is the name of the game. Nobody can be me. Nobody can be me except myself. Nobody can be you except yourself. And just owning my true self. Like I've always kind of tipsy-toed around. I think more than the average guy I've been my true self, but I've still not ever fully been my true self. And since this quarantine's hit, I really looked introspectively, and now I actually don't care anymore. I'm just going to be myself and let the chips fall. And that's what I think is the most rewarding thing. So that's what I'm pushing, right? Just go after your passion. Just run at your passion as hard as you can. If it doesn't work out, go find another one. It'll set you up for the next one. Be a good person when you're doing it. And then on top of that, just like spread love, man. Like obviously there's negative things I'm going to go through, but I'm going to always put a positive spin on it, whether that's social issues, whether that's personal stuff. So an injury that happens, anything is positivity. So the fact you're saying that means I'm on the right path, and it pumps me up.
Yeah, because that's something that over the last year, and especially with the whole sort of lockdown and coronavirus, that I think it may just be growing up. Like I'm 21, so I am very young and I'm learning, but I think genuinely just like seeing how other people are, and as you say, the one thing that stands out is how honest you are and how open about, how true to yourself you are. And you've just said that, you're owning it, you don't care, you are who you are, sort of thing. And I think for people like myself who are following that, it opens me up a little bit more. It gives me a better understanding, and it just kind of drives me on, really. But when I see, especially as you say, did we cut out then? Are we all good?
Yeah, well, no, I got most what you said. We have a little, we have a little cut off going, but I understood most of what you said there.
Yeah, I was just saying that, like, for people like myself who see you as a high end professional hockey player, plays at a good level, um, seeing how real you are and admitting flaws and admitting when you're having a good day and having a bad day, it it normalizes it, and it makes me feel like, well, listen, everyone's susceptible to it, even the people who are at the top end doing what they love doing. And I don't get me wrong, I love what I do, but obviously you do it at a high level where people are watching, where that kind of where you get that following, where you're known. I go around my day and I'm known by the people who are around me. I think with you guys, especially as athletes, there's obviously a larger following, so there's definitely more of a pressure that just comes with it. So when you see someone like that just normalizing their day, as you say, just the little things you do, it's very real. Like even when you're in your car and you're just playing music, like it's very normal. It's a very normal thing, and it relaxes people, and it just reminds people that we're all the same, but we're all in different places, and we just gotta grind. And
Exactly, man. Like, holy, it's so true. I love that you're saying. I love how this is just like a straight conversation because, maybe I am taking a bit of a risk to share the flaws that I have, but I think we all can agree that, say some management guy's looking at me, that guy has his own flaws. He sees me owning my own flaws. Is that not going to make him be like, this guy's the real kind of guy that we'd like to have
yeah,
on our team? That's the way I view it. So I don't really see it as that. If they don't want me, I'll be better off without him, to be honest with you. So
exactly.
that's where my kind of like not care comes with this, because I know now I'll be fine if hockey doesn't work out. Like, I know I have so many other things that I can do, and all the things I learned in hockey and my work ethic and perseverance, determination, it hasn't gotten any much harder than it has in hockey. So with anything else, everything else would be easy to me. So that's why I am like that. But we need more people to start valuing, as Gary Vee says. I'm not going to say this and say it's my idea, but I've been thinking it. But Gary Vee says we need the culture to shift from being, happiness is success. No, happiness is just being happy.
Yeah.
Like, you should be valuing making $50,000, 50,000 euros and being truly happy more than making 800,000 euros and being so miserable and want to jump off a freaking deck and kill yourself. Like, that's what's more important, man. So he's been pumping that message out. He doesn't even really need to. That's not really even part of his thing. It's just become part of his thing that he's come to this realization through his business and through his stuff that, man, just be happy. Be excited to wake up every day. Be excited to go after what you want. I don't care if it's shoveling elephant crap. You like to do that? Dude, yeah. I'll go out for a beer with you and talk about it because you're passionate about it. Go do things that you're passionate about. And if you can't, work a job to a means to an end to get to there eventually. It doesn't matter when you get there. As long as you're on that path and chasing it, you'll get there, and your life will have meaning and fulfillment. That's what it's all about. I'm only here 40 more years. I'm 27. It took me this long to wake up. I'm not going to be here much longer. So I got to make the most of it and spread that message as much as I can.
That's amazing. That's just spot on. It's just about realizing, as you say, that time's limited, and it's just about making sure that we take. Some days are going to be tough. Some days aren't going to go to plan, but it's just about realizing that there's always tomorrow. There's always an hour. Like, I think the one thing for me is when I'm training or playing sport and I'm not having a good game, I usually get frustrated, and I usually lose my head a little bit, as we all kind of do. But now I'm kind of in that state of mind where when I'm training, and especially over lockdown, when I'm in pain and I'm not doing well, it's just kind of looking at the time. So it's like, okay, 10 minutes, I've had a shit hour, but I'm going to give it 10 minutes now. Just get a good 10 minutes in, and we can take something from it, and we can go into next time, sort of thing. So it's just taking even the little things as well. Like, I find I'm learning to kind of appreciate smaller things, smaller successes. And I think this podcast has been a large help because, I've had a good friend of mine, Lloyd Haynes, tell me that it's a grind, and it takes time to become sort of big and have a huge following. So it's just about grinding it out. And I think, like, when I get to like 30 or 50 downloads, I'm super stoked. Like, it's just, at the end of the day, it's people downloading it, it's people listening to me. And as you say, when you hear someone give you that feedback, even if it's one person, you're doing it right. And it just kind of calms me down, reminds me of why I'm doing this, and the bad moments and bad situations kind of seem very minor compared to everything that goes on. It's very minor, and it's just about working towards a greater success and a larger success as well.
Yeah, man. Like, so much to unpack there. Like, holy, but like, I'll start with what you said about sport. Like, something I'm not afraid to share anymore. Like, it's held me back. So I played 38 NHL games and only, 38 and 317 in the minors, and I have been able to break through it. I've always been a late bloomer, and I think I've finally awoken to these things at 27. I got too obsessed with hockey for too long, and the balance in my life got thrown off, and that limited my performance. I've still gone on a trajectory like this pretty much, but it's how much farther could I have gone? I got to let go of that regret, plant my tree now, and now focus on the positivity, on not worrying about all the little things, not stressing and enjoying all the little things. So I can relate to what you said about that so much. But also, dude, if the only thing you get out of this podcast is talking to a guy like me, getting no downloads, you're winning, because we're sharing positivity, we're sharing life stuff. You're taking things from me, I'm taking things from you that reaffirm what I've gone through. Like, that's what you got to look at it. The base level is amazing. Anything on that is gravy, dude. Like, that's the way I think about it. I'm chasing hockey. Worst case, I'm going to play in the AHL for some money and get to immerse myself in a new city and meet a whole bunch of new people and make positive change. And it's going to add to my life. It's going to add to their life. Everybody's going to win. That's the worst case. So why the hell wouldn't I train my ass off to be the most impactful player in the worst case? And on the top end, I get to maybe play in the NHL again. I get to go to a camp and go crazy and try to bust down the door. So it's all game. Life is a mental game. It's a perspective game. And you're starting to get that. I can hear it in your voice. I would say some of these things at 21. Here's the kicker, though. I would say some of these things when I was younger, and I didn't get it yet. And I still, now when I say these things to you, I know I don't get it all, because I know how much more I have to learn, how much more I have a growth mindset. At 21, I was like, oh, I'm ready for the NHL. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. It's like, no, you're not, dude. And I remember like a development coach being like, oh, you think you got it figured out? And I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no chance, dude. So say that now, and say you're starting to pick up on these things, but always be like, yeah, but what about, I could always flip it up. It has to be a constant thing. Life, you can book out like a weekend or a little vacay to have a time off, but I go on vacay now and I'm like, I just want to get back on my grind, because that's where I'm most present. That's where I'm most happy. So you got to get comfortable just doing it every day, and your body adapts and your mind adapts.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that, because at the start of lockdown, like, I've always loved my sports and I've always enjoyed my sports, but the one thing I've never had is the discipline to kind of knuckle down and exercise every day and really take care of myself. That's something that, I admit I haven't done, and it's only taken me until now, since lockdown, to realize, hey, it's got to be every day. You can't, you can have a day off, you can maybe have 2 days off, but I think what I need to learn is a day off doesn't mean, sitting down, stuff in my face and taking it easy. A day off is resting, but still keeping the other disciplines there, so we don't lose like a massive track. And I don't always do it. I do cave in sometimes, and I can completely understand that. But the one thing I've sort of kind of learned to do is not guilt myself over it. Just accept I've done it, and just work a little harder, perhaps on the next workout, or the next meal just a little bit healthier, maybe a little less on the portion size. It's just kind of thinking about everything that you're doing, and going back to like exercise. And I signed up for this like virtual like exercise thing with these 2 personal trainers, put out 2 or 3 videos a day, meal plans, just like going over nutrition and stuff like that. And it just opened my eyes, and I was like, wow, okay, I've really not done this. And I've missed the trick here, and that's why I'm in this situation. But the sort of confidence it's given me and mental boost has been incredible. And now I think about exercising. So, like, say I don't exercise, it's in my head and it's planted, and it's like, well, fucking hell, I didn't exercise today. and it'd go on for a week, it'd go 2 weeks where I didn't even go out for a run, and it'd just be like, well, you'd look at yourself. There'd be a day where I'd look at myself in the shower and I'd be like, well, this isn't right. And I'd try and quick fix it. So I'd like sign up and do like MMA events and boxing, and it'd be a case of that. I got 8 weeks, and it'd be an intense 2 months where I'd lose a lot of weight and I'd get really fit. And then I'd like carry it on for 2 weeks, and then it'd go back to plonking my ass on there. And this was before the podcast as well. This was before I was bored. I couldn't say that I did anything productive. I didn't really. I think I just sat. I love my gaming, but there is a balance between playing and enjoying it, and then just playing it excessively. So I think
Exactly, dude.
I'm learning now that you gotta do this shit. You gotta do it, even though some
It's
days it sucks. You still gotta do it.
dude, it's all these. That's why people fail diets and do fail all these things, because it's a lifestyle change. It's not a thing you
Yeah,
do for a set amount of time. It's something that you never stop doing. So you could alter it. Like, say, one part of my life when I'm done hockey, I'll probably want to get super big. As a hockey player, I've never had a big upper body, but I know that I'll have to do it for like 2 to 3 years to get my goals. But then you
yeah,
know what, that might get kind of boring, and I'll go back to running or doing whatever. Like, nothing is a short fix in life.
yeah.
Absolutely nothing. The key is to fall in love with the process, fall in love with the journey, because at the end of the day, you're not going to remember the destination. You're going to remember the journey to get there.
Yeah.
That's why video games, like I used to love video games, and if I had another life, I'd play them all freaking day. But it's almost like, it's not too easy, but you can figure out a game in a certain amount of weeks, months, right? And then it gets easy. Or you play GTA
Yeah.
with Grand Theft Auto with the cheat codes on. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, I want to be in the present in my real life, actually feeling and going through these things in the real life to then progress, because that's the fun part. There's no better feeling than like getting a drill down or hitting a marker of a good run or a good lift or a good workout or on the ice, whatever, and then feeling the satisfaction of, I did that, nobody else, I did that. That's what I chase in life, is breaking through those plateaus. I'm in a plateau right now. Played the whole year in the minors. Some things happened outside of my control that I can't worry about. I let it get to my head a bit, but I came home quarantine. I was like, no, what? Screw this. I'm taking control of this. It's going to be on me. I'm out of a victim mindset. There's no more victim. I either do it or I don't.
Yeah.
If I do do it, my brother, you got to follow my brother too, Ian Gabriel. You'll love it. Don't just wait on this guy. Don't even get me started. But he writes poems, and he was writing a book, and he knows I like dragons. So this is the way we view things, and this is how he explained it to me. And he wrote a poem about it. He's like, I don't know the poem, but he goes, basically all the obstacles we put in our life, we put them there. So he's like, Kurt, you put dragons in your way that you have to go slay. And I'm like, frick yeah, I do. Like, I want to be in the NHL. I put that there myself, and I'm going after it. Now, I may not be able to slay that one, but he said, you know what? That one might take me to the right place that I need to. It might veer off to go do social media, activism, my brand. So I just think running at what you want right now, regardless if you get it or not, failure, if anything, is going to push you to better things. If you have that mindset, we can't lose. I can't lose knowing that if I fail, it's a success. Like, failure is a prerequisite to success. And if you can figure that out, everything else becomes like easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, 100%, 100%. That's spot on. I've seen that your brother's been mentioned a few times. I think I've checked his profile out, but I'll give him a follow, because I have seen one or two things, and they are insightful when you read into it. But yeah, definitely, there's always something else, and I think as well. I was gonna ask this, but obviously you said that you'd been released by the Flyers. I mean, when you're chasing the NHL, and that's, as you say, that's been your whole life, playing hockey, and you've dedicated your life to it, and you say too much to an extent. When you got sort of released, is it the case of it just feels like everything's like that's it, or is it a case of where you were at now? It's like, right, well, fuck it. This is another opportunity for me to go out and get it and move on to better. Because I mean, what is it like being released by an NHL team?
So basically, how it works, for, like, if you don't understand as much, and I know you said before we got on live or whatever that people don't understand some things about hockey. So I was on a 2-way contract. So I'm on an NHL contract and an AHL contract. If they send me down, I make a certain amount of money up down here and a certain amount of money up there. So my goal is to be up there. But I got a knee injury in training camp that I couldn't control, unlucky kind of thing, but it only left me out a week. I wanted to stay up, but I got sent down, and I was hoping to earn a call-up back by playing well. I played really well early in the season. Then, stuff happened. I wasn't called out the whole year. So because I had my identity so tied to being a hockey player, I was so like, I'm a hockey player and I'm making it. There is zero plan B. It's going to happen. And then to feel like that's not happening after spending the previous year, half the year in the NHL, and thinking I've kind of busted through another plateau, but then this whole year staying in the minors, it felt like I was dying. Like, truly, my identity, my ego was dying. So when I went home for this, so I didn't really get released, but I got sent down, right? to the
Right.
second league. So
Yeah.
I know you guys are all about your first and second leagues over there. So
Mm-hmm.
coming home, the season ends with coronavirus. I was playing well near the last 20 games. I wanted to finish out strong. I come home and I'm like, just in this like mental rut, like, wow, how could I go from the best time to the worst time? But the season before, I went from the worst time to the best time in the top league, and now the opposite happened. And I was my expectations were so high
Yeah.
that if anything happened, it felt like I was dying. So I had to do this self-authoring program by Jordan Peterson. Me and my brother did it together. It was his idea. And it's changed my life, I think, because what it does is it enables you to put to bed the traumas and the past things that have happened in your life. I wrote a autobiography of myself, of my past, 16,000 words. I have that now. Whenever I falter, I can go back and read it and it'll reset me. I wrote my present virtues and drawbacks. I've done that. And now I'm in the process of writing my future. So now going into, like, I've been able to rewire my brain almost, the fact that I'm not just a hockey player. I'm a good person. I'm a good man. I'm a good brother, boyfriend, son, friend, right? That's who I identify with now. And I'm a good citizen. So now hockey is like back to being a game I played as a kid. So it did feel like I was dying, and I didn't handle it as well sometimes. I still grinded, but I didn't have that passion behind me. But now I know wherever I end up this season, I'm just a dude that's playing hockey, and that's my career, and I love it, and I have most passion for it, and I'm going to put my body on the line because I choose to do it, but I don't need it. And
Yeah.
that's a huge switch for me. I truly believe it's going to unlock my potential. But you know what? My expectations are I'm just going to be my best. If that means I'm in the NHL, great. If that means I'm in the AHL, that's great too. But either way, I'm going to be at my best, and I can be happy with that because I'm a person first. So it was awful, but looking into myself and realizing that the obstacle is the way. Don't go around it, go through it. Get uncomfortable. Go through that. Control what you can control. That's what's enabled me to get to where I am. So that's why I live by that mantra now. Control what you can control and do it with love. Only worry about what you actually tangibly can control and do it with positive intentions. You can't lose.
Yeah. Because, wow, I mean, fair play. That is very insightful because it could be so easy. It could really be so easy. As you said, you felt like you were dying and your ego was dying, to just kind of say, well, as you said, you gave everything to hockey. You really bought into being an NHL player. It was, you had that season before with the Devils, was it correct? Is it the Devil? You had that where you played plenty of games and you're really getting into it, and you think, you get comfortable, don't you? Like that. Okay, I'm playing frequently, playing often, and then it just kind of, as you say, things that you can't control come in. It's a frustration. It's that, like, when something happens to me and I can't control it, it feels like something, like a ball of frustration just builds up there. And you just want to, the first thing you want to do is just let it out. Like, that's the first thing, because you don't want to be frustrated. You want to let it out. And like the one thing I always struggle is when I do release my frustration and it's not sort of productive. My brother will kind of give me a kick in the ass and be like, hey, listen, that's not cool. It's the last thing you want to hear. But then half an hour later, when it kind of poise down, you're like, shit, yeah, okay. Didn't handle that very well. But that's when, it's like, that's when I felt like I needed to do. Might not have been great. Might not be how you should, how you should control frustration. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to release it quick because you don't want to feel like it. It's a horrible feeling, and it for me, it sticks in the middle of my chest, and it just balls up, and you feel it in your arms, and
And why does it hurt? Because it hurts because your intentions are so there.
Yeah.
You're the only person that knows in your head how hard you worked, how much you pushed, and then something unfair happens, or your mother dies and you can't control that. People lose their minds, right?
Yeah.
But we have to separate ourselves. It's kind of blunt and kind of, I don't think it's, not heartwarming, but it's the only way to survive. Something bad happens that you can't control. You have to separate yourself from it. You can have to have the logic and have the preparation to know that I could not change that outcome. I did everything I could, right? So that's something I've struggled with for a long time. And I've even able to get to this high level, but it doesn't change that because I'm at a high level, it gets any easier. If anything, the farther you get into it, it gets harder. So as you go along the journey, you should prepare for it to get harder, not easier. But that's also behind harder brings those amazing highs and feelings of fulfillment in life, right? But that being said, even when you are higher, I've had the best time of my life. Since March when I came home, that first couple of weeks, I figured it out. And since then, I've had the best time of my life. I have a new woman I love in my life. I have all these things going. I've been able to change everything around, right? That's still going to come with not good days. Like there's still going to be a day where I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like that crazy high. But now I know through education of myself, you know, Buddhism they talk about nothing is permanent. There is no permanence and does not exist. Okay. So now I know, say this is what happens to me. I train hard all week and I'm like so tired and I can't wait for Sunday to come because I get to rest. And then Sunday's a blah day. You know why? Because I didn't push myself. I wasn't present.
Yeah.
I didn't get that high in my brain of after a workout or something. So now I know that, oh, that might come, but that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm going to read my past authoring. I'm going to understand where I come from, where I'm going. I'm going to be accepted and be happy and be excited to start the next day. That's a mental refresher right there.
Yeah.
So knowing that nothing is permanent and you can't control everything, man, it frees you up a lot.
Yeah. I think the one thing that I try to do, and I do often, is always give myself something to look forward to. There's always I think you need to find at least 3 things in a day to excite you and to look forward to. And I say that because when you do have a bad moment in a day, because it can just be a moment, it can genuinely just be 10, 15 minutes where you have an absolute howler. But there could be something in your brain where you just think about it and it's like, I'm going to go work out later. I can get out there. And it just sets you up there and it gives me a bit of poise and you go for it. And I just think like today, like I've had a great day today, but the reason being is because I knew I was doing a podcast today. I was like, I'm doing a podcast today. I'm going to talk to somebody. It's going to be really insightful. It's going to be really uplifting and motivating. And it just set me up for the day. And I've had a great day for it. And I just think and that's one thing. That's just one thing. And, you know, I also had the excitement of doing my workouts before coming on. And I think I've got to get it in 40 minutes snap. Everything's got to be on time. It's got to be on point. And, you know, it just kind of set me up for the day. And tomorrow I don't have, I got a day off from work tomorrow, but I know I'm doing my workouts. I know I'm hanging out with my brother tomorrow. So that I'm set again. I'm set again for the day. And and there could be things that happen unexpectedly that are going to be great. Like I know at some point I'll stick the PlayStation on for 40 minutes and I'll have a good time. So it's just finding those things and, just looking at one thing and just saying, right, okay, let's get to that. Let's get to that. Let's do what we got to do and let's get to that and enjoy it. And
yep. That's what the list is every morning, right? You read it in the afternoon, but that's what the list is. It's like right away, I have all these things that I get to do in the day. And you know what? Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to make a list. I don't want to do I have a busy day. Oh, it's going to be stressful. And then I just go, but this is life. I only have so much time left. Like I now relish the busy days. I'm like, oh, this is going to be the best feeling ever. Right. But then in turn, that also helps you appreciate the day that you get more time off because you've taken care of your stuff. But even on an off day, I think it's very important. Like for me on an off day, I don't want it to just be absolutely do nothing. I need a couple small objectives, get a few things done, get that little bit of high and then relax. So it's so true. Just it's over and over getting uncomfortable. Life begins outside your comfort zone. If you can't grasp that, even me who has it in my Instagram bio and I talk about all the time, I still have those times where I'm like, I got to go kill myself on this assault bike. Like it's going to feel like my skin's peeling off. It's going to feel like my muscles are going to melt off my legs. But you know what? I'm going to push through that and then I'm going to finish it and I'm going to feel amazing, dude. So uncomfortability is what we should seek. Failure, don't strive for failure, but seek it out if it comes. Be like, oh, I failed. Why did I fail? How can I fix that? That's what you got to go for.
100%. And one thing that I've got to learn to take, and I'm starting to get a lot better as well, is constructive criticism. Like I've been someone that takes it to heart and I get all defensive, and now I'm starting to learn that I don't gain anything out of, if there's something that genuinely happens, like there was genuinely a reason for it, or I do genuinely have an excuse and it wasn't my fault, then by all means kind of justify yourself and make the points present. But I find sometimes, especially when I was a lot younger, I'd get criticism and I wouldn't react well to it. I'd be like, I'd just like kind of become a child and get all grumpy and horrible. And whilst, you are disappointed with the criticism because you think you're doing it right, they're not saying it to be a dick. They're not saying it because they don't like you. They're saying it because they want to see you do better. They want improvements and they know that perhaps like you can work to a higher level or you can do something to a better level. And it's just kind of like taking a step back, listen to it again in your head, and then react. I think that's always important. Like, don't just jump at it like I used to and sometimes do. Like, it's a case of just listen to it again and know where they're coming from with it, rather than just, oh, this guy, shitting on me.
Dude,
So
it's so true. It's so true. Like, I use this analogy. When I'm in the lineup and I have a good start to the game, but then there's a bunch of penalties and I'm like, oh, I haven't got out there in a while. I'm getting a little cold. Coach could have put me out there for a second, but he didn't. I would let that bother me because I'm in the heat of the moment of the emotions, right? But if I was sitting up in the press box and if I was a healthy scratch that night, looking down on it from like a bird's eye view, I would know that, oh, Kurtis, you just got to relax. You got to stay focused for your next shift. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So it's so hard to do. And the only way to do it is to fail 10,000 times. I'm still doing it. Is you have to be able to separate the emotion from reality, right? Like, just exactly what you're saying. I just think about it as like I zoom out of myself. Like, I'm going to be sitting on the bench this year. I've thought about this. I'm prepared. I'm going to be sitting on the bench when something bad happens, and I'm going to think, what would I be thinking if I was up here in the press box? What would I be telling myself? Because that's the right voice, not the one in my head. I could use this guy when I get pissed off to fight someone, or I got to hit someone, or I got to take it to another level. I can use that for power, but I need to take out the emotion when it's time to really judge something, and not to judge in the moment on emotion.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, that's the one thing. Like, I've gotten into hockey over lockdown and been following a lot of the NHL. And the one thing I do see is how guys can get, like, the one thing that baffled me, actually, as you're saying, was the fighting. So, like, to me, when fighting happens, it's usually personal, in when you play rugby and soccer, football. If something like that happens, it tends to be heated, and it does happen in hockey. But one thing I've noticed listening to Mic'd Up as well is these guys genuinely just throw down with each other, smack the shit out of each other, and then they're just talking to one another, and they're like, "Oh, good job, bud." And I'm like, "The fuck?" It's like, you guys have just tried to smack each other so hard, you tried to get the one up, and you're all praised. I don't get, like, is that mindset then? Is that like a good mental position where they can, as you say, you can bring that guy out, and as soon as it's over, you bring the other person, you bring that other character in, where it's the poise and it's the.
Yeah, that's where something like all you fans over there got to start getting into hockey, because I'm one of the guys trying to keep the fighting in there. I want that. What you just described, I still want that to happen regularly, right? Where I'd say very rarely am I just steaming mad, not thinking about anything but crushing the other guy. Most of the time, it's more of like a team thing where I'm trying to fire up the team, or I'm answering for a big hit I threw, or going after someone for a hit they threw, right? But that's the thing, like you're saying, constructive criticism, even on this, nothing's personal. You'll know when somebody's making something personal to you. It's very obvious. Other than that, things aren't personal. We're all out there competing, doing a job. Like, early on in my career, I'd fight someone, and if he got a couple punches in on me, or I beat him, I'd think, oh, that guy, I crushed that guy. That guy doesn't even belong around me. Like, it was like so immature. It was like acting like a child, like you said. But now it's like a couple of years in, I'd smash a guy and he's cut open all the way down his face, or I get punched in the whatever happens, and we go for a beer after, and I'm looking at the guy's face stitched together, and we're like, is this crazy? We do this for a living? Like, so there's a certain maturation that has to happen. But back to the constructive criticism, that's so true, man. You got to take out the noise. The thing we talk about in hockey is the coach yells at you. Take out the yelling is just to tell you how bad he wants you to do it. But listen to what he's saying. That's what he needs out of you. So I couldn't agree more. People are so sensitive in today's world. And my opinion is that, because I was one of these people, is they haven't done the work on themselves to be prepared for that. So there's no accountability. There's no accountability. When a coach would yell at me in the past, I'd be like, but I'm supposed to make the NHL, but I'm down here. This doesn't, like, why is he? No, he's trying to help me get up there.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta be secure in ourselves. In hockey, the culture over here, you guys may not know, is like, oh, the hockey guys are super macho. They get out every girl they want. They don't care about other things. They all care about is hockey, right? But no, what we need to push is like a real man. A real woman is someone who's secure in themselves, accountable, can take these criticisms, but still believe in themselves, give back to the community. Like, that's what everything's rooted in, is insecurity, I think. And I used to be like that, and I'm always going to work at it, but it's been incredibly farther along now,
Well, looking into hockey, I would never have said that, okay, you guys are massive and you gotta be physical, well, not everybody, but you guys are, you tend to be physical, you take some shots. But I wouldn't say that there's like a jock mentality in hockey. I wouldn't have said that. What looking in from where I am now, I wouldn't have said so. I think with sport though, with any sport, if you play at a high level, there are going to be some egos and there are going to be some attitudes that aren't, that aren't up to scratch. But I think genuinely, you can't like stereotype every hockey player. You can't do that with a footballer. You can't do that. But you can't do it with anybody with anything, right? You can't stereotype. So, but looking in, I wouldn't have said that the first thing that comes to mind. These are all macho guys who are just like, only care for hockey and go out and think that they're the bee's knees. I don't get that. I think what I get from hockey players, and the one thing that kind of sticks to me, is that they're hardworking. The seasons are long. I mean, when I looked at because I came in and I was like, Jesus Christ, they play 3 games in a week. I play a game of rugby and I'm still sore like 2 days after going into the next training session. I'm like, Jesus Christ, told me I had to play a game on Saturday and then play a game on Monday or even the Sunday. I think I'd cry. But yeah, that's the one thing I get is there's a hard work and there seems to be a real good culture in there of respect.
I will. There is, but this shirt says "Change Hockey Culture." And, this is an LGBTQ bandana because I do think we seem like that in the media, and I think a lot of us are. I really do. But if you grow up from around here, the hockey culture is overall in general has been degrading towards women when it's just the boys. It's been we don't care about social issues. We just play hockey. So we're stereotyped as in the media, the great guys of hockey, but I don't think it's truly like that. And things are starting to come out now where that's quite apparent with racism, with homophobia, sexism, all these things. So that's what I'm trying to change along with other people is that, if we're supposed to be these greatest guys in sports, we're the smallest of the 4 major sports here, but we're supposed to have the best reputations. It's like, well, let's start actually being that instead of just being kind of fake, kind of being fake. So that's what we're trying to change now. But, I think it's coming a long way. Like a kid just came out over here at 17, who's coming up through hockey, and that's the youngest a kid's come out. That's a good hockey player. So that just shows that he's not afraid of what it's going to do to affect his career. It's becoming that much more normalized and stuff, right? So we're really working on that. But we are kind of like that typecast as hockey players. I've had that where people just assume I'm like that, and they met me, and it pisses me off. But that's the way it is.
Yeah, because I was going to say I've seen you do a lot of sort of activism and activity online over Pride and LBGT. Like the hockey grip. I've seen that it's rainbowed and stuff like that. I was just going to say it's not something that I've actually seen from a lot of high-level hockey players, but I was going to ask, are there a lot of people in favor for it that or kind of around the board? Do you think?
Well, obviously in my small circle, I've only put people there that are on board with this, but we also need to be accepting to people that aren't educated and are a little ignorant and need to not shun them. We need to bring them into the conversation instead of straight canceling them, right? You kind of just straight cancel someone. They don't really want to get better. They want to kind of defend themselves even more. So we're trying to break that hockey's so insular all the time. Hockey's just only about the team, only about winning. That's great. We can still do that, but we can still be individuals that fight for issues and share our opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, as I said on this, I made a video that went on Twitter and it kind of went viral. Like, we're not robots. If you want to go watch Robot Wars or play video games, that's different, right? We're human beings with real lives. Like you're talking to me right now. I'm a high level athlete, but I'm just a dude. That's what I think I am. So we all are going to have our opinions. So we're trying to work on that, but it's slow going, but it's just the dynamic of hockey that you haven't grown up around is that you don't really worry about anything else but hockey. Right. Anything about house hockey and the boys, and that's not okay. That's not realistic. That's not life.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like the one thing that, because I follow American football as well, so obviously that's come back. The one thing that I genuinely can't kind of comprehend is these people who are just stick to sports. You're not a politician, and it's like, well, technically you could say the same to you. You're a plumber. You're not a politician. But you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't say that because at the end of the day, we all have a voice. We can all express ourselves, and I think the one thing that is very important with this, and I'm glad you said it, is not to cancel people out and not to just shun them off. It's about at least giving them a chance to sort of understand. And if they choose not to, that's on them. And then that shows that they're ignorant and they can't comprehend what's going on. And there are plenty of people out there like that. But there are a group of people who would be willing to learn, who would be probably willing to change. And I really do hate this cancel culture, if that is what we call it, because you're shunning people out. You're not giving people time to grow, time to learn, and it's just so important that we don't get sort of uppity and shitty about a comment that may not, you may not agree with, right? But the one thing you can do is stay poised and talk about it, or ask them why. Yes. And I think that's the one thing that people forget, is ask them why they think that.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. So I think there comes a point when you need to let the people that these, whether it's Black people, whether it's people that are being, oppressed, you need to let them handle it how they want to handle it. And, if you're going to give someone 5 to 10 opportunities to change and they still refuse, then I think they should kind of be canceled as a wake-up call.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but right off the bat, athletes, like other athletes, are afraid to do what I'm doing because if they think if they make one mistake, everybody's going to hate them. It's like, guys, no, if your intentions are pure, I have nothing to worry about. I know my intentions are pure. When people come at me about things, that's their insecurity, and that's them not realizing that I have true intentions. And also, I can call out people for change because I've done that to myself. I've put that on myself where I can now hold others accountable because I've done it first. I'm a white cisgender male professional hockey player. I was naive to all these things. I didn't grow up around racism, honestly. I grew up more around homophobia, not as much sexism, but I still was a part of this hockey culture and this toxic masculinity that I have to be this macho dude, and it affected me. And I've talked to my girlfriend about it. She knows all about it. She's kind of helped me rebuild myself back up. But that's why I can call guys out for this stuff, because it's like, hey, I've been there. Yeah. I was more on not on the hateful side. I was on the oblivious side. Yeah. But now I'm awake to these things, and I can hold myself accountable to these things. So I should be able to call you out, but in a compassionate, nice way. When people come at me with hate, people come out with hate, I just write back compassion. I just write back kindness. Hey, I hope you're doing. He comes at me, you're an idiot. You don't know crap about these issues. I hope you're doing well over there. Send me a DM. I'd love to talk. That's how we have to bring people in, right? If he does that 10 times over a month, I'm probably not going to ask him for help help him anymore.
No, you say fuck you, but like we all say things that we all make mistakes and we all say the wrong things. It's just like recently people's reactions to it are just as bad as the comments, because everybody, I think everybody wants to feel outraged and angry and not kind of, as you say, compassionate or try to be reasonable. Like, you can still be reasonable with someone who's ignorant, but you're reasonable through knowledge and you're reasonable through trying to conversate with them. Like, if someone's racist, and you just fire back with like, oh, you're a Nazi, you're a KKK, and you just say shit like that, they're not gaining anything for that. You're just branding them like they would brand, you're black, if they're being racist, like black people, or gays, they would brand them, and you just brand them back instead of saying, well, why do you think this? What has made you believe this? Is it just how you've grown up? Is it because that's what majority of it is?
That's a very real reason to feel those way. If the people who raised you and gave you life, fed you, it's like a dog. A dog's gonna be loyal to their owner. Like, you're gonna be loyal to your parents to a certain extent. And maybe you don't have the self-accountability to make your own judgment and break away from your parents. I see people that do that, and that's incredible. Yeah. But some people are really tied to their parents. So it makes you just as bad as the person that has the hate for branding them that way, because you're not even holding yourself accountable. So that's a big issue I see on these issues, is like, people who are on my side want to attack the other side. They haven't even held themselves accountable because they think, just because they have the socially acceptable argument, they think they win every time. It's like, no. The only way it changes, and after you show you want to make actual change, is you hold yourself accountable. Maybe go work out so you don't have that venom in your voice when you talk. Go punch a bag for an hour. Go punch a bag for an hour, or go run 5 miles and see how much energy you have to lay into someone online or something, right? So on both sides of the argument, there's people that have no accountability. The people that should be saying these things are the ones that keep themselves accountable. That's how it works. I don't have the energy to attack people and bring them down. I only want to build them up because I've got too much stuff going on my own. I'm too tired to do that.
Yeah.
That's me holding myself accountable in my own life to then make a positive difference. People that just blab away and are keyboard warriors and they hate their job and hate their life. What do you like? You're not contributing.
No, you're just taking out the shittiness in your life and you're putting it on everybody else. That's literally it. Like, I've had this conversation
literally.
Yeah, I've had this conversation. I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation, but it's just like I'll know when I see a keyboard warrior who's genuinely there just to not to, like, as you say, like, you can see people who make these comments or say these things and you can kind of gauge, right, okay, is it just like, are their intentions pure or they're just not understanding, and you can conversate with them. But then, like, for me on Instagram, I know a keyboard warrior when they have some shitty Instagram name, they're on a post and their, like, profile picture isn't even them, it's like a meme or something, and they say something and you just, like, I'll wind them up. But if I see something online and it's like, okay, I don't agree with that, and maybe we can have a conversation. Like, it doesn't always have to be like racism and that. Like, it could genuinely just be political, like, policies and stuff like that, which I don't think they're horrible for, and I don't think, like, it's two-sided, and I guess everyone's entitled to their opinion to a degree. But you just conversate, and the one thing that is really going missing is conversation. And you see it with politicians, you see it with leaders, they're losing it. And when they lose it, people who follow, they do it as well. And you're just like, well, if the people who are meant to be in charge, who are meant to know what they're doing, are like they've always kind of been like a little, like, they've thrown comments at each other, but it's like a little jab, and it just to, like, have a little, like, it's political banter, if you want to say it like that. But it gets real personal now, and it gets real shitty, and it's just like, oh, that's meant to be
not even them, not even them. As you said, the leaders are not even them are holding themselves accountable. So what precedent does that set to anyone else? And everything, you can find everything in sports that relates to life. Like, if you have a coach that loses his mind when stuff gets bad or things happen, a bad call, and he wants to blame the ref, that's why we lost. The team's just going to do that. And then I've been on teams where the coach is like that, and we all follow him. It's the same thing in society. It's the same parallels. You got to have people that hold themselves accountable. And it's so sad, but human beings are easily corruptible.
Yeah.
Like, human beings, it's so messed up as I've gotten older and understood these things more about life. I always used to think people up at the highest up, they must know everything, and they must have everything dialed in. It's shocking to me. So that's why I'm so motivated to be locked down on my stuff. Now I can't really get offended by anything now, because if a person says it, they don't even know me, and it's not true. Like, I know me. I don't have to worry about anybody else's opinion, to be honest with you. So these coaches, these leaders, these politicians, they need to do that. But power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely in human beings, and it's sad as a species. Is why there's wars and stuff. There used to be wars because one king didn't like how one other king talked about him in a letter. Oh, he said I'm not a wealthy king, so let's go fucking rape and pillage and kill his whole land. Like, human beings are messed up. We need to start waking up to these things.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that's very true. And you look back at how a lot of wars started, it was over like a one little thing, or it was genuinely because they had the power to decide, well, today I'm going to war. It's like,
exactly. My legacy is hung up on a guy insulting me, so now a million people die, or 5 or whatever.
Yeah. Because there was I can't remember his name. There's an MMA guy, and he's like, they were doing like a documentary of his fight day, and he like referred to a king, and he's like, I'm this guy because I'm getting up and going to war today. And it's just like, well, yeah, it's just true. Yeah, that's a mentality of like someone from that time in life. But I think it's such a weird part. Like, there's never been looking into like time. There's never been a time like this where a lot of unrest, there's a lot of divide, and you just, with social media now, it's more obvious than ever, and it's more accessible to see. And I know a lot of people from the older generation kind of hate the generation that's coming up, and it's just one of those things where it's just like, wow, there's a lot of hate in this world, and you can just see it now, and it's just bubbled up. It's just really bubbled up, and it's like, well, shit's hit the fan. It's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We'll slap a pandemic on this, and now everyone's divided, and it's just like,
yep.
What?
So I try not to branch too far out of hockey. Like you brought me on as a hockey player, right? But I got to take care of my own world first. I can't go I'm a freaking bubble NHL, AHL hockey player. I'm trying to worry about my little world and my world of hockey, right? So we have some, great things coming around, but all this hate, like people can be prepared for hate. You can have accountability towards hate. You can be ready to see someone. You can be ready to see someone on the bus be racist and call it out. And be part of the solution. You can be ready to call it homophobia, to say, hey, don't say that sounds so gay anymore. We need to say that's pathetic. That's stupid. We don't need to use that and put those people down. It's not that hard of a thing to switch. But also when you do make a mistake, let's have compassion and bring people along to help them. So those are things that you can do every day, but we've got to start making tangible difference. And it's great that we have some things coming through the people I'm working with that are going to start changing hockey culture at the lowest levels. We're going to start educating all these kids. So things that I've never got talked about, right? Yeah, I used to get talked about here and there about things, and I had a teacher as a mom, so I was ahead of the game that way, where I was educated on things. But always taught love, respect everyone, treat people the way they want to be treated, all that. But now we need to have all these kids aware of like these 6 to 8, 9 very important things: racism, sexism, homophobia, mental health, wellness, all down the list, to prepare them to be the next generation that's going to start abolishing some of this hate.
Yeah, for sure. Because, I know a lot of people look up to the current athletes now, and there is a responsibility, as you say, to get rid of this culture and get rid of this sort of stereotyping and this what has become a normality of discriminating, whoever, race or gender, etc., or sexuality. But I think what the focus has to be is right down at the bottom, as you say, getting it down early and young to the next generation that's going to come up, to the next NHL players, the next NFL players. If you put it there, in the long term, it gets better. I think kind of whacking it at the top and prioritize it there doesn't work out, because they're not there forever. And I know the majority of them, as you say, majority hockey players and athletes are mean well and are great people, but obviously you have the culture there. But you can always get back to that. You can always kind of put things there, and there's the players like yourself who are willing to call it out and say it how it is. And hopefully there's more players that kind of follow you in that stride, because then they're the focus. Then you can focus on that area with people like yourself who can hold people accountable. But then
educate them and then make it cool. I'm trying to make it be cool. I've had moms message me that their kids I need this pride tape that I put on my stick. That's what I wrapped around. And it's a company that's Pride Tape and Hockey is trying to break down homophobia. They think that's cool now. Kids didn't used to think that's cool. Now there's oh, this guy's owning his stuff. He's at a high level of hockey. He thinks it's cool to put this kind of stuff on stage. I'm going to do it. That's a change. And in the since I've been doing this, in I think 20 months of me working in this fight, everything's popping up in rainbow colors now. Everything. That's a culture change in its own. So it's it's cool to do this stuff. That's what we need people to do. It needs to be how cigarettes, I always say this, cigarettes used to be, doctors used to smoke them, but now it's you're kind of gross if you do. I guess, freedom to you to smoke your dart, bud, but it's not cool.
It's not cool.
Girls don't want that taste in their mouth, guys don't want that taste in nobody wants that. You smell your hand, it's not cool. So we need that to be the same thing with all these human rights issues.
Yeah. Because the one thing I will say, which is pretty cool, I was going to say, growing up, when I was a teenager, say 16, 17, I'd see a rainbow flag and I'd make a big deal out of it. Oh shit, yeah, there's a rainbow here. That's for the LBGT community. Now I look at it, it's a rainbow. It just represents something. You're wearing the bandana. I know 16-year-old me would be oh, hey, you're wearing a bandana. Is that because you support LBGT?
Why is that guy wearing a bandana? Does he think he's cool? What is he trying to do? Is he gay? What is that? Yeah. Now we're just no. We're trying to
what it means.
Represent these people.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know what it means. I know what it stands for, and I'm just I'm okay with it. It's just normal. And that's the massive thing, is normalizing it and just making it day to day, because I know people who aren't vocal about say homophobia but that's just them, because they're not someone who's they're not, which is fine. They don't come out and they talk about it, and but if in my friend group, we've always said that, like, listen, if you come out, you come out. You still our friend. Nothing changes. Like, it would be no different to you meeting a girl if you were with a guy. Like, it doesn't change anything. You're still that person.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
It's just like, maybe the only thing that changes is I admire you more and I respect you for being honest, and because it is a challenge, but it doesn't change. It doesn't change nothing on our side. It just means that there's a difference between us, and that's fine. Being different's fine.
Yeah. Like if a guy friend came out to me, I'd be like, dude, let's go. What kind of dude? I'd be like treating him just like I treat a dude, being like, Will, what girls do you like? If I have a lesbian friend that I'm friends with, I'd be like, what kind of girls you're into? I like girls too. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with that? It'd be fun, dude. I see it as like an opportunity to like meet new people and see how things, different things experience. So like, I'm posting a picture to like right after this of me wearing a headband or a rainbow bandana, a rainbow mask, and a rainbow sweater, and I'm just gonna post like, it's cool to stick up for people. It's cool to back people and let them be their true selves. Like, that's cool. That's what I'm trying to do to like change it.
Yeah, because you and I'll know when you get feedback off someone, as you said at the beginning when I was praising you and like how much I kind of appreciate your social media. Like, when you hear someone giving you praise, when you hear someone kind of saying, you know what, as you say, you're cool, you're worth listening to, you're worth kind of interacting with. It brings a great feeling. It doesn't matter if it's 100 people or if it's just one person saying it. It's a cool feeling. Being praised and being appreciated is one of those things, and that's literally all. That's literally all the Black Lives Matter movement is, and that is literally all what LBGT stands for. It's just being appreciated and normalized. And once you normalize that,
it's humanity. Like, don't jump the gun with me. I was going to talk to you about how great this conversation is with you. Like, I'm praising you for this chat. Like, if nobody listens to this, it's
you and I
positive. It's added to my life. If we delete this and nobody ever saw it, it's added to my life. So the fact that other people are going to hear a conversation, dude, you're killing it, dude. It's unbelievable. Like, you get life way earlier than I do. That's for sure. So hats off to you.
Cheers, man. I just think like I'm like, there's still a bit of me that's immature, and I think that like you do need an immaturity, because if you're mature all around the board, you're
never learn.
Yeah, you'll never learn, and you're just kind of stale. Like, I think you'll be quite a stale, bland person. So I think immaturity is good, but it obviously needs balance. But when it comes to serious things, it needs maturity. So that's the one thing. Like, there is a lot of me that is immature, but it means well. It's not like I'm immature to serious things. Like, when a serious thing happens and occurs, I deal with it, and I deal with it correctly, or how I think I should anyway. But
you're immature with like, shit, I played like 10 more minutes of video games because I want to finish this little part, instead of like calling somebody out for who they want to be married to. Like, come on.
Yeah. But like, I think just kind of recently, as you say, you're oblivious to these situations because you're a kid. And I think, there are things, there is that saying, let kids be kids. And I agree with that. But there's also there are a few things that we need to tweak. There are a few things that we need to kind of just talk. It's conversation. It's not even like getting them to change how they play or change how they do things. It's literally just conversation with them. And like, when kids ask questions, you just give them the right answer. You give them what you think's, the right answer. That's literally all it is. You don't have to change much with kids. It is, as you say, like you integrate one or two things and a conversation and plenty of conversation. And that'll be, as you say, when you're working with people, that'll be the change. It's not about doing things in hockey to like drastically. It's literally just like maybe getting the team to sit down and be like, okay, well, we're going to talk about this,
exactly.
or like say, one of the boys mentioned this, or they said this on the ice, and we just got to say, we can't say stuff like that. You just say, listen, don't say that because, and you give them all the reasons, and that's the massive change then. And then when they grow up, they carry it. It's not like people think when, as you say, like you're working with people now and you're trying to change the culture of hockey, they think it's going to be like this massive overhaul. Like, you're not even playing hockey anymore.
No,
it's not.
No.
It's like, it's tweaks. It's tweaks to mentality. It's tweaks to behavior, and that comes from conversation. You can't really like, there are a few activities and things you can do, but genuinely it's through knowledge and information. And Yeah.
So like that Daniel Ocho guy who's hosting that Conversations with a Black Man show, he said there is no finish line for these issues.
Yeah.
There is no finish line for racism in our time. There isn't. Accept that and then work hard at making enough of a change that hands it off to the next kind of generation, because we're human beings. There's always going to be hate. There's always going to be these outliers. It's just the way we are. Going forward, there'll be new issues that people hate on, right?
Yeah.
It's the way it is. So, but we're planting seeds, and just small things like me talking about mental health this week. I had a couple people say, hey, you know what? I reached out for help and I feel way better. Like that's the smallest little example that's changed lives. We're just planting seeds, let them water them, let them grow. It's everything in life, like the lifestyle change. And for a diet, it's long-term gains. It's enjoy the present, enjoy the ride on the long-term journey.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, now that you say, like, I literally, like, I've learned something. Like when I was saying to you, like, oh, to me, looking in at the NHL and looking how you guys are, you don't seem like macho dudes. And then you literally show me your shirt that's like change hockey culture. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that, but I now know that there's clearly issues there that need to be addressed. And I think there's a lot of that in just sport as a whole. Like, I'm finding the one thing is definitely soccer and football over here. Guys have a real issue with it. And I'll be honest with you, I've watched the women's, like the Premier League, the Women's Premier League, and there are only 3 good teams in it. But, like, that's not for me to say, oh, well, bin it. It's not worth watching. Someone's going to enjoy it. People follow it. And, speaking to my last guest, Laura, she plays rugby, and she was just saying the one thing that when she was growing up, there wasn't a female role model. Now, it's got to start somewhere, and it's a case of, okay, I like growing up as a guy, my role models in sport were all dudes, but that's because men's sport is the pinnacle, it was the top, it was the pinnacle. So I just think, you know what, even if it's not the best league in the world, it's going to inspire people. It's going to make people, it's going to make girls want to play football. It's going to really, and it'll bring the level up then in the future. So they will be better. And you got to start somewhere, because
exactly. I'm just trying to be the role model for that too. Like I'm trying to be the role model in my world of just, hey, it's okay to stand up for these things. Look at me. Nobody's killed me yet. Nobody's canceled me yet. Nobody's like, I'm thriving. It's adding to my life. Working harder, taking time away from my own brand, my own stuff to do it in my free time. Like instead of reading a book or play video games, I do these things, like that's cool. I want that to be cool. I want that to be like accepted.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's just something that needs to be normalized and something to be proud of for sure. Because whatever it is that you do, like it could be, it's just about being comfortable with it and enjoying it. Like you get people who are like really insecure about like their hobbies and that, and it's like, well, don't be. If you get something out of that, like as you say, it could be shoveling shit. Like if you get something out of that, then do it. Like that's not a problem.
No, 100%, man. I get it. It's this is the kind of stuff. These are the kind of conversations I want to have with people that get uncomfortable, that go after their goals, that also want to help make change along the way. There's no reason why we all can't go after our goals and dreams, dragging as many people along the way to good, positive things as possible. It doesn't, if you make it to the top, not bringing people along with you, it's going to be shit ass lonely at the top. Yeah. And that's when you put your mental health in a back seat, like that's, you got to do everything the right way. That's what I'm trying to preach, is do everything the right way. Whether you make it or not, you're going to live a fulfilled life, in my opinion.
Wicked. Just before we kind of finish, I do want to kind of come back to hockey, because I know you mentioned now that you're very much in a different mindset with it. Like you love it and you'll put your body on the line with it, but it's not. Do you think that having that mindset where it's a little more relaxed and a little more poised and more enjoyable, do you think that actually your hockey will get better? Yeah.
Dude, I think it's gonna, honestly, I think it's gonna unlock my potential, because first of all, I've always been a late bloomer. It takes me a long time to figure things out. We didn't even get into how I got to this level of hockey, right? Like it's a crazy story. You can read about it, or watch my YouTube blogs on my channel. I go through the whole story in like 10 episodes. But yeah, like I'm back to the feeling of playing hockey when I was 16, trying to make the Ontario Hockey League, and I didn't care. I didn't have one thing to lose. I just wanted to get out there and compete and play for the love of the game. That's what I'm back to. It took 11 years. I've had stops where I did that. I've had times where I didn't. overall, I've been pretty good, but I'm not the type of person that can be pretty good. I got to be on to be at that high level. So I think it's just going to open the doors of playing better. And you know what? If it doesn't, I'm not going to die. It's going to be okay. I'm going to survive. I'm going to move on to better things. So I have freedom from outcome to go after it. And I think that's going to reap the most rewards.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I was just thinking when you were saying that, I was like, well, he's more poised, there's less pressure, and I find when there's less pressure, there's better results, and I just think that's amazing. And when you're and of course, the main thing, enjoying it, and it's getting that enjoyment back out of it. So, definitely think, I mean, you're on listen, if you don't get to the NHL, you can always say you're on NHL 20, which is pretty fucking cool. Okay, I went on search for you. I was like, he's on this game somewhere, and I got you. I was like, Philly Flyers.
Dude, I've been in that game since like 2012 when I was in the OHL. They have it all the way down there. So that was cool back then. But 100%. People tell me all the time. They're like, Gabe, you played in the NHL. You fought in the NHL. You scored goals in the NHL.
Your video. I seen it on YouTube as well.
Right, you've done all. Right.
The Devils.
You've done all this stuff. So it's like, that's not okay with me. I want to look back and be like, okay, but like I still have, like, it's not like the pressure's gone down to here from here to here. The pressure's like here now. It's like it's a manageable amount, right?
Yeah. Also, there's a YouTube video with how to fight with Kurtis Gabriel. I thought I read that and I was like, that's class.
Like with Chris Weidman, the UFC fighter, right? That was cool.
That was pretty cool. And it's just like, as I was saying, like what people saying to me, it's the biggest guest. And my friend was like, hey, one game in the he likes his hockey, and he's like, one game in the NHL or 100 games in the NHL. It's NHL, and he knows the level of hockey. Like, we obviously know that like the British League compared to like majority of the leagues isn't up there. But one thing we do know for sure is that, because I look at the the way you see the AHL to the way I see it is very differently. Like obviously you're an athlete, you want to be at the top, but like I look at it, I was like, AHL is still a great place to be. For me personally, that's just it. So I think I'm coming from obviously not in a point of view where I'm trying to get somewhere, and but I think
because I have a great lady in my life too. Everybody thinks she's just like, people have opinions of people online, but she's like, she played a high level of hockey and she couldn't get any higher with knee injuries and life. And she's like, Kurtis, like whatever you play, it's going to be great to me in my eyes. Like you're playing at such a high level. So it's like having people in your life too that support you with that, like not having a girlfriend that's like, oh, if he doesn't make it, I'm not going to be with him, or like making that obvious. So, I don't need that in my life. No. Like I have someone who loves me for if I do nothing. Yeah. He's happy.
Yeah, for sure. It's getting the right people around you, and the right support. And I just think that, like I'll be following like 100%. Like I was fascinated with like the whole free agent thing, but I feel like, as you say, especially with the like coming back home and having the whole lockdown and having to work on yourself, I feel like it just takes you up to another level. Like I feel like a completely different person from the start of the year when I wasn't doing the podcast, when I didn't get like 3 months to kind of work on myself and see how I was. And I feel different. I feel rejuvenated, and it's just a level up. And, if you were pushing the NHL before that, you'll definitely be pushing it now. So, I mean,
that's what I'm saying, man. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I got a big time agent. I got amazing new girlfriend. I got a brand team. I got a marketing guy. I got amazing trainers. I have all these things in place. I just got to go have fun now. And if I don't, nobody's going to hate me for it, and I won't hate myself for it. So I can't lose.
And with all the work that you're doing as well, and saying that people are messaging you and saying that it's cool having the rainbow stuff, people will want to watch you. You'll be marketable as well as, quality. So there's no reason for you not to be in the NHL. And
Thank you very much, dude.
We'll wrap it up there, man. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Absolutely, dude. I'd love to hear from you. I want to hear about, I don't really have time to listen to like podcasts anymore with all the free time I take away, but I'd love to hear about who you're having on and what you take from them. Like shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear that.
Sure, man. I'll stay in touch with you. I'd love to get you on again in the future as well. 100%, man. It's the one thing that with this podcast is that I stay in touch with the people that I talk to, and I get them back on and we catch up and we just go over things and we just smash it out and have a great one. It's 9:00 here, 9 p.m. and I'm pumped. I'm motivated.
You're gonna have a tough time going to bed tonight.
I know. Juiced up. early wake up to get that out of my system, man. But I can't wait. I'm not someone who listens to his podcasts, like listen back to him, but 100% give this one a listen to. Why not?
Well, I
Things are
appreciate that.
doubt,
Well,
man.
this is the thing about what you're doing though, is that you didn't just come with like scripted questions. I hate that crap. Like there's a time and place.
Yeah.
There's a time and place, but this is a conversation.
Yeah.
This is a conversation, and that's what I want to be a part of. That's where I vibe with someone back and forth. That's what it's all about. So you're on something great, dude. And
cheers,
again,
man,
even if it doesn't blow up, we want it to. Even if it doesn't, you're adding to your life so much value just talking to people, bouncing things off them. I'm learning from you. You learn from me. You can't lose.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm very humbled that I've given you something. I've given an NHL player, some train of thought, and it's just great to vibe off you, man. I appreciate it. It's real humbling and a pleasure. So thank you for this, man. It's been amazing. I hope everyone who listens to this gets something out of it, gets pumped, thrives, and smashes the day, or ends. If you listen to this, the end of the day, you go to bed with a mission for the next day, an objective for the week, an objective for the year, objective for life, and I'm fucking pumped.
I'm pumped too, dude. I'm gonna. Hey, every time I do these, I feel like I vibe, and I try to pick honestly. Like I don't want to do huge podcasts. I want to do people that want to grind and have great conversations. So I'm gonna pump this out everywhere. This is the best conversation I've had yet. You and Adam, tip of the top. So I appreciate it, man. It's funny how it works.
Yeah, wicked. Well, Kurtis, Gabriel, everybody, appreciate it.